أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. In the name of God, most merciful, ever merciful, and may God's peace and blessings be upon His holy Prophet Muhammad and the purified members of his household and progeny. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajahum. So to our dear viewers online, to everyone who is in attendance, thank you all for joining us. And first and foremost, Assalamu alaikum jami'an wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh. So this is our second professional networking session. As you know, the purpose from these sessions is first to get to know each other, get to know who is in our community, who does what. And this is definitely something that we are lacking and we need to work on. Not only just to get to know each other, but to also create some bridges between the generations too. I think that's important. So that's first and foremost. And secondly, we think that there's a lot of opportunities for alaykum assalam wa rahmatullah. There's a lot of opportunities for mentoring, coaching, sharing of experience, providing advice and guidance, whether you are in high school and wondering what to study, or whether you are finishing your master's degree and wondering how to get into the market. Everybody is looking for advice and looking for someone to talk to. And we have amazing people in our community. Usually we don't know about them. And this is supposed to be a forum where we can build a little bit on this and learn from each other, inshallah, at a more professional level, not only from the religious perspective, even though, as we have said, this is a continuation of our understanding of our religion, that it does extend to every aspect of life, including the professional aspect. So, without further ado, you know how this works. So every time we have one of these sessions, the invited guest is going to present themselves and give us a little bit of a highlight of their areas of expertise and specialization. They'll take 10 to 15 minutes to do that, and then we open it up for an interactive question and answer session that will go up to 45 minutes. And feel free to engage in English or Arabic if you need to. And so we leave it. Of course, there's not a lot of time. 10 to 15 minutes is not a lot of time to cover a lot. So we really depend and rely on you guys to come up with questions to force the speaker to tap into their expertise, their experience, their specialization. And inshallah, depending on what we can cover, I think for some speakers, we may need more than one session, so I'm just hinting at something maybe in the future, we'll see. I usually try not to say too much about the speaker, but I will say today very quickly, I think that we are extremely, extremely fortunate to have Samahat al-Daktor, Sayid Abu Hassan al-Mousawi, to be sharing of his generous, precious time with us. This is someone who is extremely accomplished in multiple fields that are extremely competitive. And this is someone who has experienced a lot, accomplished a lot, and it would really be a shame not to really take full advantage of this session, and inshallah future sessions with him if he is so kind to share a little bit more of his time, because I don't think we can scratch the surface maybe today, and we'll see. So without further ado, Sayyidina, the mic is yours. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim wa sallallahu ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala ali baytihi at-tayyibin at-tahirin.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad.
رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. First of all, I really like to thank Dr. Sayid Jafar al-Hassani for this very initiative proposal from his side to work on such a program that would enable our community in many different perspectives, especially when it comes to the professional and education. Thank you very much, Dr. Sayid Jafar al-Hassani. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Second, I have been asked to do some brief introduction for about 10 to 15 minutes. Then we will have an open session for a discussion and questions and answer. I would like to share today with you two main professionals that I worked and gained a great deal of experience with. That is the engineering. I worked as an engineer and university professor. I will try to map those two professions together and present whatever I would manage to present for you in order for us to look at our education, the possibility and potential future education for our young generation, and then practicing their profession in a very effective and efficient manner. First, to start with my first engineering degree, I did that at the University of Baghdad. I finished petroleum engineering there. At that time, it was a very serious study. University of Baghdad at that time was one of the best in the Middle East. And soon after I graduated, I started working with the Scientific Research Council Petroleum Research Center in Baghdad. I kept working there until I left Iraq. When I arrived, I'm going to summarize things, right? So it's when I arrived to Canada, the first challenge I faced is to work in this field, to work as a petroleum engineer. And I was in Montreal at that time, and I have been told, you know what, to work as a petroleum engineer, you have to go to a far province of Alberta. It is cold, it is far, it is this, that. I said, then what is my second potential or option? They said, you think about it. I said, okay, I'm an engineer. I can do a second engineering degree. It's going to be easy for me. Then I joined Concordia University. I did my second Bachelor of Engineering in Electrical and Computer Engineering. Right before my graduation, that was 1999, I started working with the CAE Electronics in Montreal. We were doing a flight simulator. This company is a very well-known company in Montreal. It's right beside Dorval Airport. At that time, they call it Dorval Airport. Now they call it Trudeau Airport. Then, at that time, I had only one term left to finish my bachelor. I finished it. I got offered to work here in Ottawa with Nortel Networks. Then I moved to Ottawa, start working with the Nortel Network at that time. And I used to study and work together. Immediately, I joined University of Ottawa to do my master degree. Now you can see it. I have both the level of education that might require to do the master and the experience. I become an experienced engineer working in many different fields of engineering. So to do the master, it was a piece of cake for me. I finished it very fast. And it was actually, some people was amazed how fast I finished the master degree. And again, experience has impact. The practice that I put in an actual, a real field of engineering helped me a lot to transform that into my new academic study beside the two Bachelor of Engineering that I gained previously. I finished my master and I still was working with Nortel. Then I moved to Mitel, Master Canada, until I joined to do my PhD, and that was, if I remember it correctly, 2004 or 3. I avoid mentioning dates, not to make a mistake, so just to be consistent. At that time, I have been asked not to work anymore. Part of the requirement is to be a full-time student. So I dedicated my time to finish my PhD, which I did finish year 2010. It took me about 5 years, very serious study. We developed a multi-channel electronic stethoscope that can acquire medical signal and do a medical diagnostic. So I got hired by eHealth Ontario early 2011, and I was a manager and architect with the eHealth Ontario. And the system that you see being deployed nowadays in any hospitals or some of the medical clinics, it's been part of that system was developed by my team when I was a manager with eHealth, and I was an architect for that system. I left eHealth 2016, and I focused before even I joined eHealth, I was teaching at the University of Ottawa. Even when I was a graduate student, I started teaching graduate classes, which is very exceptional. As far as I have been told, nobody have done it before. You're still graduate students, and you are offering graduate courses for graduate students. I was teaching systems integration at that time for students who are doing PhD and master degree in systems engineering. So I finished with eHealth 2016. I focused mainly on teaching and research at the University of Ottawa. My major research and teaching is on the biomedical engineering. I created for this program about 6 courses out of 12. 12 courses required to finish this program. 6 of them was created and designed by me, like eHealth, mHealth telemedicine, robotic surgery, medical systems innovation and design, medical diagnostics engineering, and digital design for biomedical engineer. Up to now, I'm teaching these courses for master and PhD students. We are doing a very impressive research in this field as well. And part of what we are trying to build recently is what I call it, with the team of my students, what we call it the e-hospital. And this e-hospital is very initiative kind of project. It's a huge platform through which I'm trying to put all the experience and expertise that I have gained through all these years from my work on my education and research into that platform. So it is going to be something for the future. It has plenty of features and functionality. It's up and running now. If you just go to the type e-hospitals, you'll find it, but still my team's different group of students are working on it. Why engineering from the beginning? It's why did I choose, sorry, maybe it took me more time just to tell this story, but I'll tell you one thing. I was thinking from the beginning that to become an engineer, it would give you the ability to enhance and transform your own thought to solve a real world problem. It's the ability to design things that matter. I'm taking something wasn't exist before, it was only in my mind, and then I can put it onto the field, and here you go. You can see it functioning, and you can see that you are bringing your thought, your idea, your theory, whatever you have learned, and you practice it and become a real. That is the beauty of engineering. The beauty of engineering, you are going to practice this a problem-solving approach, understanding what is your end user need, or even if there is no need, you will be able to create that need, and you change the world around you. You change your the way of life for all other people on this earth by innovating in new things. And every day you can see it, engineers coming with a new idea, a new in new materials, in new equipments, in new instruments, in new technology, in new things that can enable a human being to live in a better world. So that is the beauty of engineering, and that was just to answer why engineering from the beginning. To see what it does require, definitely it would require academic study and the practice. You are not going to learn unless you get your hand dirty. You need real and effective tools to be, for your training that would take whatever you are learning from the academia and put it there into the industry. Combining the industrial experience with the academia, this is what gives us a unique ability to contribute. So that's why I come up with this a new course, what I call it, industry internship project. It's a 6 credit for graduate students. All what I need from my students is go find a real engineering problem, solve it, and try to find some company, institute, whatever they can cooperate with, to transform that into an industrial solution for some other end user, understanding how much value you are going to add and contribute. And that's why encouraging our young people, young generation, to focus on understanding their talent, their Allah-given talents, and try to use it into the actual enhancement of a human being life. And that's the beauty of the engineering. And to take that again into the academic teaching, you can see you are applying the exact same concept by having the same level of influence on my students on a daily basis. I have influence on my students. I can shape the future generations, the way they think, the way they practice, and the orientation of their technical skills and professional. So taking that into our consideration, definitely the challenge will be when it comes to the engineering, you can guess it is continuous kind of education. Every day there is a new technology coming. Every day there is a new methodology, a new things that need or require from the engineer to learn about, so they know how to deal with the current state of the art. That is the same thing for the university professor. They always need to learn things. They need to be on top of the things in order for them to deal with the most advanced topics or most advanced technology, to be teaching their students the current state of the art. Having said that, again, the challenge for the university professor when they offer their education, I say this always when I discuss. Now everything becomes one click away. The students can find any lecture, any material, and we used to have a textbook through which that was the only source of information that we might gain. Now the students can find anything in one click. They can find it. So what is that we are going to offer? I said, unless we make the education or this academic environment so interesting and educational at the same time. First, I need to attract the students to come to the class and make it very interesting through the variety of different activity. We used to have exam. That was the focus at the time. I remember when we were students, the focus was only on the exam. We have midterm exam, final exam, and maybe we have certain assignments similar. Now it's not like that anymore. I have to, with the class material and the exam, it's going to be boring. It's not going to be interesting. I have to be able to make the students feel that they have some lead and say inside the classroom. They have their own personality and they can leave a mark in the classroom. Once they have that sense that every time they come to the class, they can contribute and leave a mark, they will be so interested to come back and discuss and talk and share their idea. And now, for example, I assign mark only for a student just to share their idea, just to tell us a story, invoke any discussion. I said, now guys, you have a mark only to invoke a discussion. Asking a question, you have a mark for asking a question. You have a mark for just telling us a story. Then they will feel, okay, now I'm important in the class. I have to feel and see, they will feel and see their personality inside the classroom. And that is part of my mission and my educational style. The other thing, besides the challenge that we are faced as an engineer and university professor, what would make it very successful? I mean, in order for the engineer to be successful in the field, I would say first we start with the teamwork. Team drives the successful completion of any project. Problem solving, analytical skills, communication skills, and that is both applicable for the engineers and for the university professors. In order for us to attract our young to understand what is so special about engineering, I would say this: think about the engineering degree that is going to provide you a career with plenty of flexibility, freedom, and excitement. You cannot gain that freedom with any other field. I said there is never a reason to be bored when you are an engineer. Always a new idea, always a new problem to be solved, dealing with different customer, different end user, invoking different environment, new technology coming every day. So there is no reason that make us bored when we are an engineer. So it's our duty on this earth to build and protect. And we are at the end all Allah successor on this earth that we should build and protect. And to build this earth and protect it, imagine yourself as part of designing and building some artificial organs or pollution protector equipment, or coming up with the new materials for less expensive buildings that would solve the world poverty and so on. So you can see everything you see around you nowadays, it's an engineering, it's technology. Technology is everywhere. Whatever we are using, whatever we are dealing with, the things that facilitating our daily life better and better with the time, it's coming from technology, and technology being designed and built by engineer. So I think it's worth it to think about gaining engineering degree or even going into that field somehow. So if you have any question respect with this, I'll be open to it. Sorry to take that much from your time. I really apologize, but I won't try to be as brief as possible. Hopefully, I just give a little hint on what we can do, what we can accomplish, how much we can contribute, and all of this can happen through putting some initiative or creative idea together, and to use your creative mind and implement your own idea. I think engineering will give you this ability to do so.
Ahsantum. That was actually great. Very, very appetizing. And I have a lot of questions myself. So I'm going to give the chance to others if they want to start. Brother Ali, you want to tell us if the mic is working?
Sorry, I have a few questions, but I'll let the floor if they have any other questions.
First of all, thank you for sharing all that very beneficial information with us today. I appreciate it, and I'm sure I speak on behalf of everybody here to say that we appreciate your time. So I have two questions, and they kind of relate to each other in a way. So the first question was in relation to, you had mentioned that you previously were educated in Baghdad, and then you also pursued an education in that same field here in Canada. So my first question was just in relation to the differences, like from your perspective, what the main differences were in relation to the education that you received in Baghdad in this field versus the education that you received here. What were some key points, some key differences that you could mention? And then the second question, I wrote it down. 1 second. Yeah. So in addition to the formal education that you received both here and in Baghdad, was there any self-education that you had to do? Things that you had to go outside of the formal institutions to kind of gain the, let's say, the expertise or the knowledge that you needed to succeed in the field, in addition to the formal education that you previously had? So those are the two questions.
Okay, thank you very much. Very interesting question. To answer the first one, you mentioned that you are correct. I gained two Bachelor of Engineering, one from Baghdad University and the other one from Concordia University. Still, the first one was in petroleum engineering, but the second one was in electrical and computer engineering. If I want to be very honest in answering this question, I would state it this way. And that is, from my perspective, I might be wrong. Some other people might experience different things, but at least this is what I had experienced when I did the first and second bachelor degree. When it comes to the quality of a professor that we had, I confidently would say we had better professor at Baghdad University as an individual at that time. And I mentioned that it was a very serious study, and Baghdad University was one of the best in the Middle East when it comes for the education. But when it comes to the facilities available to the students, the academic environment, you name it, whatever might be needed for students from the labs, libraries, other facility, definitely here at Concordia was much better. So I was able at that time, even at the time when I was receiving that education, I was able to distinguish between those two aspects of this academic education. Having very qualified, very high quality professor, and remember at that time, until I left Iraq, I think we don't have a graduate education. All of them, they were graduated from very well-known universities, and they were not studying at any university. They were coming to the best university in the globe. So either here in Canada or in the States or in the United Kingdom. So they were very serious individual about their academic skills and ability. So from that point, we had better professor, better quality. But when it comes to the facilities, no, here definitely was better. That is for sure. Do I need to gain access or have to practice? Definitely, always the case. And one of the things that I mentioned during my speech, I said, you are not, and that is maybe for engineering and for all other fields of knowledge, no exception. You are not going to learn unless you get your hand dirty, which means you have to practice your knowledge in an actual industry field. And specifically for the engineers, they need always to practice. At that time, when we were in Baghdad, it was limited, the ability to go outside and gain access and practice. We had a visit to the field that was very controlled and very limited, while you can feel it here in Canada. Now I'm sending my students to do a real project in with a real organization, solving a real problem, they feel so proud about themselves. I feel proud about the way I see they are practicing whatever knowledge we are giving them in solving a real problem, making difference. And some of them, they are doing it with the City of Ottawa, some of them with the Minister of Defense, some of them Minister of Health, a variety of different applications, many different companies here in Ottawa. When you see that we have our students going outside and practice, maybe back home they won't have this opportunity yet, even at the time when I was student there. So that is, hopefully I satisfied your questions.
Thank you, Doctor, for your time. And really, I admired your hard work, especially for your generation.
Thank you so much.
Like recently, I noticed for the last 7 or 8 years, most of our young generation are a little bit like shifting from continue their education instead to go to university, either like they said, oh, what I'm going to do with the university degree, or shifting to a college, which takes 2 years only to get like hired or have a job. And as I said, most of them are kind of shifting of continuing and just said, okay, I'm gonna do like mechanic, I'm gonna do like a free job. Why would I waste my time? So we are, as a community, what we have to do to encourage those young generation and put them at the right path and take the opportunity to continue their education.
Okay. Thank you very much, Abu Ala. That is a very sensitive and important question, especially talking to the young people and their mindset and their orientation when it comes to the way they look at the academic education. I would say a few points in here, and I'm not sure how much relevant my points, but this is my observation about the issue. Those young generation keep hearing that there is a link between the academic education and the job market or whatever they kind of practice. They said, okay, as long as you have a job, as long as you can do any trivial kind of work, then here you go. Why bother? Why you need to go to the university for 5 years? A lot of, being a student is painful, it's not easy. But the gain is huge as well. Employers really appreciate the employees who take a time to finish engineering. For example, engineering or any bachelor degree. They know they are going to receive different type of education than college or than just going into the job market and do some trivial work. And this is, again, it has by itself many issues. First, they are working at any place, making money, and they think it's enough for them. That is not enough. Money is not gaining that small amount of money from any trivial job is not going to promote them later to become better individual, and is not going to push their potential into the limit to contribute the most into the community. The right education will put them at the end at the right place to promote themselves and to find their Allah-given talent in order for them to contribute and to accomplish the most. And at the end, all what we are doing in here, it's about contribution. Whatever we can contribute. I mentioned we are the Almighty Allah successor on this earth. And one of the duty that we have in here is to build and protect this earth. To do that, we have to be able to establish our strength And this strength is not going to be established through finding any job and doing any work. We need to push ourselves and to find what is the actual talent that was given by Allah to us in order for us to be able at the end to contribute the most. I really feel sorry sometimes when I hear this narrative talking about why should we go to the university and what I'm going to do with the... In Canada, this question is not relevant. University degree has plenty of opportunity and job. We don't have enough people. I mean, all my students, before they graduate, they find a job, and there are plenty of job available for all the engineers, all other disciplines, whatever, you name it. But because they have even more than this opportunity, they have the opportunity to go work tomorrow in any store, Tim Horton, McDonald's, wherever they can find a job, wherever they need to go, they can find a job. My point, even back, for example, in Iraq, we keep hearing this. What are you going to do with the university? There is no job. This is not a logic theme of thinking. If he is not, he's still young kids. If he's 17 or 18, and you are not sending him to the university, then what is the option? What is the alternative? Where he's going to go? I mean, what type of education he's going to receive, how much he's going to contribute in the future. Now there is a job. In 4 years from now, you never know. 8 years, 10 years. If he has no real education and he has not established his personality in a very disciplined manner, then what he is going to do, this has a negative impact on his personality for the rest of his life. So university degree definitely has an impact on the individual, on the young people, whether they really like to work on that in this field or in any other field. Still he has to gain some engineering, some university degree that would enable him to find his real talent. Sorry, Abu Ala, did I answer your question? Am I taking more time?
Yeah, thank you. But yeah, that's good. But also my question, so how can, as a community, we can change the negative impact to positive impact? Like, for example, if there is any way you guys can...
Awareness.
Can you create like a small group of university students, like 5 or 6 of them, and put them like in a way they can educate the new generation or the new students, like at the high school, and encourage them, like through the internet or like a network, to encourage them to go to university and continue their education?
Yes, Abu Ala. I think this program that was initiated by Dr. Sayid Jafar, one of the purpose for this program is to educate our young kids to be oriented into the direction of right education. You are definitely right. Awareness by bringing some young people together to create some small community. Remember, this young students, they listen to each other more than they listen to us. So, and they are sharing same knowledge, same language. I mean, when I talk about language, I don't mean English language. Their mind language. So when they talk to each other, they have better influence. And most of that bad influence, it might come from another young guys who might have bad experience, or he would consider it momentarily as a good experience because he already got a job and he is gaining some money. He feels a little freedom to spend and doing so, but he doesn't know that is in the future he will stay the way he is. There will be no change. Now people start seeing the impact of having a good education. People with the right education, they can work anywhere in this world. I spent the last term giving my lectures. God knows where I was. So it doesn't matter. There is no limitation, no space limitation on sharing some knowledge based on the current state of the art of the technology that we can utilize a day. If you keep doing physical work, if they think it's a good idea to work in a Tim Horton, they have to keep doing physical work at them. They have to be present at that place all the time. It's, again, I'm not saying this is the only way we can pursue our education, but I think this is from what you call it, the talents was given by Allah to different people. They have to discover it somehow. Different people has different ability, different potential, different talents and skills. And the only way they can find it is through the right education. Thank you. Thank you. I'm sorry.
Thank you, Samahat Sayyid. I remember seeing you in the university back in the days doing my bachelor in engineering. But I'm honestly quite astonished by the mindset you carry, and looking forward of how to change the perception about engineering. As an engineer, the focus was how to bring women into the engineering. But maybe the way that you're thinking about engineering, how to make it attractive. I know it's a dry field to an extent, but what I would like to understand, if I understood early on, your focus is on postgraduate. You know, students, how they participate, different activities to get them involved, to really like and feel the engineering and not do the traditional way of, learning engineering. Is there any focus on the undergraduate students, changing the way engineering is being taught? Is there a connection between the postgraduate, what you're doing with your postgraduate students, the material you're putting together, and so on? Is it an influence, or is that being, communicated and shared with the undergraduates? And even further, are you looking at communicating with other universities and kind of share your experience and the results of, number of years you've been working on and the accomplishments? That's one question. To pick up Brother Abu Ula comment on the students is not, or the way of thinking, do I need to continue, not continue as a high school student? Is there a value given all the competitions, and wages offered here and there? Maybe not a question, but maybe just a comment. Back in the high school days, they used to connect with companies and firms. Back in the days when Nortel was around, and I was in grade 10 or 11, they took us there. I don't recall the term, is it workshop, or they coordinated the students with the university and kind of exposed them to what engineering and different faculties within the engineering department. So that's one way, and I'm pretty sure it's still happening. And counselors at the high school, I think the best way to kind of understand what direction to take. Am I in the sociology? Am I in the engineering? Am I in the medicine field? I think it's best to go through the school counselor. So there are a set of questions. There are people who are behind, have the skill set to ask the right questions and figure out what field would best suit you, the way you think, the way you like, and all that. So just wanted to kind of comment, and I'll let you answer my question. Thank you.
Thank you very much, brother. It's interesting question. If I capture it correctly, you are concerned mainly about undergraduate study and whether they are adapting the concept that I was talking about and the way we are implementing our thoughts into a graduate level of education. Let me give you this small hint on our vision for the graduate study. And I know at the undergrad, they are definitely implementing a similar type of concept, but in a different, from different perspective and different level. For a reason why the number of students that we have at the undergraduate, there are more. The way we look at students at the graduate level, they are in this field. The reason they choose to go to the graduate study because they found themselves and they discover their talent into this field as well. So it's a little bit two different group of people. This is the way we look at it. At the undergrad, some studying engineering or any other discipline, then later on they will realize, okay, might not be the right field for me, and they might continue, but they'll end up working in a different field, or they might even terminate their study and change their discipline and start another study. To impose a similar program that we are applying on the graduate level to the undergraduate is not going to be that wise. However, linking the university students into the industry and promoting and trying to create awareness about the engineering field by itself and the importance of that field and how it's going to be function and practice now and in the future. Remember what we have seen or the amount of change that we have seen in practicing engineering for the last 10 years. It's huge, and everybody can notice that the technology we are dealing with is keep changing, keep changing and keep evolving and we keep practice it in a totally different manner. Now, by applying same educational procedure now, even though we know that this field has been changed a lot, is not going to be wise as well. Back to your question, for Professor Liam Payton, he's the Vice Dean Graduate Study, is always telling me that, Ali, my job is to enable students to practice their engineering in the field. He is enabler. He's kind of, he think about himself as an enabler more than just someone work at the education and research. All his vision, whatever in his mind, is to enable those students to be part of the industry community. Now, taking that concept applied to the undergraduate, it will be a challenge. It is possible at a limited extent, but it's not possible to apply it exact for the reason that I already mentioned. The number of students that we have and the motivation as well. The motivation is different. The purpose why they are in this field is different, and the number of students that we have is different as well. Do they share same understanding? Yes. Those who are responsible about the undergraduate program, they are sharing this kind of understanding, and I'll give you an example. One of the things how they will enable their students to be part of the industry community is with the co-op program. That is, and now this program being expanded to the level through which we are sending our co-op students even to the other countries. So yeah, so we have one of my students now, he's in New York. I remember one of my TA, he was in Switzerland, and so for a co-op program, they are sharing this idea. They are trying to make the engineering as attractive as possible. As we said, it might look a dry field, but now technology is everywhere. Everyone can see it, everyone can sense it, everyone can touch it. Without technology, we know it's not too many. We cannot do anything now. We could, right? It's then how this happened. For engineer is to create needs. That's what they are doing every day. So creating that level of awareness that we are going to create a need for other people, make it so attractive for the talented people to join the engineering field. I'm not sure if I captured your concern correctly, but this is what I understand from it. Sorry about that. Is there any other questions? Or yeah, Sayid, we are in time. No, it's okay. Yeah, it's okay. We still can share some knowledge.
Sorry. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam.
I had a few comments and then 2 questions. Hopefully it doesn't take too long.
That's okay.
But first of all, I really want to thank you for taking some time to raise awareness on what you're doing. And also, like hearing you talk today, it makes me, as a young person coming up, especially in this community, to be extremely proud and extremely confident that that we have a reach for somebody like you in the community. And I appreciate you sharing your story. Some of the things I took away from today's, from you giving what you gave today, I found very interesting, like when you studied already engineering and you worked in the field in Iraq, and then when you came here and the opportunity was very slim to work in the same field, instead of that letting it let's say destroy your ambition, you took it in a very easy way. I've done this before, let me do it again. And then you took another bachelor's degree. So that's, just hearing that says a lot, and also helps with shifting our mindset on how to approach new problems and how to solve them. Another thing that impacted was also, and to Abu Ala's point, is the academic path, and how in today we hear again and again on how the academic path isn't really that useful. 2 things, like for me personally, I really love education and really love learning, but I really do hate the textbook way of learning. Listening to how you treat your graduate class opens my mind to, okay, there is more to in university to learning, and than just the textbook path. Eventually you can get to a graduate class and be fortunate to have a professor like you that enables you to really work on real world issues and put your knowledge to action, and also the importance of how you can actually be successful in life, taking the academic path, and you're not just wasting your time and energy on just accolades. So those are some light you brought to what I see brought to me today. My questions are two. One is more of a general sense, but I wanted to hear your answer on it. And the second one is specific to engineering. The first one is when you have students and you, or even for yourself, when you're approaching a bigger project, and with projects that you're trying to put into the real world, there's a lot of moving parts. So as a young person, after accumulating a lot of knowledge on a certain subject, there's a fear or find it hard to take that knowledge and put it into actual action and do something with that. The question would be, how do you enable your students to actually make that jump and step and put that into real world, to take a problem, find a solution, and put it into the real world? Or maybe what is your mindset of approaching a project, a big project, and not letting it eat at you to not do anything about it? That's the first question. The second question, and very to your point of, and to the worldview of, if we're Allah's vicegerent or Khalifa on this earth, that means we are to protect it and grow it. So when I'm looking for a career path or to do something in life, I'm looking for something that allows me to give the most positive impact I can to make use of the life that I've been given. So why is engineering a good path to take to make that great impact on this earth, a positive impact?
Okay, thank you very much for these very interesting questions. Before I start, I thank you for all what you have said in respect with my previous education and motivation and the way I approached solving my life problem by choosing different path. And I think that was a logic type of thinking at that time, considering the fact that I was offered at that time is to be in advanced standing, not to redo some of the most common subject that being shared with different engineering disciplines. So, and that's why I was able to finish my second degree in less than 3 years. So that was something plus that helped me to move forward with that decision. Back to your question, how to approach delivering a successful project. I summarize it this way: how we are going to make sure at the end we are able to deliver a successful project. This is the art of engineering practice. One of the things that we do is to teach our students on how to deliver a successful project by moving systematically with this process life cycle, one step at a time. Definitely this will ensure at the end we are going to be successful. First of all, you talked about the team and teamwork and how this is important in bringing or drives the successful completion of any project. That is one thing. Encouraging our students to work as a team. There are huge level of advantages to work as a team. I mean, this is just to tell you, okay, how from our side we're going to approach any problem solving that is from the technical perspective and transform that into a real solution that can benefit the end user, understanding what is the end user actual need and what value we can contribute to that need. So the first thing is to build the team for that problem. It's building the right team, which means that I have to make sure that we have variety of skills available within that team. They are going to complement each other somehow in order for them, if they need any resources from technical, from the mind, whatever skills they may need, they will find it available for them. Encouraging the synergy action of the teamwork. Now, the systematic approach for the process life cycle from A to Z, when I say from formulating the requirement for that problem up to the right design, and in each and every step, the student is going to practice this, what we call it, verification and validation of each and every step of this process. This would make them confident about each and every part in their process, finishing with the requirements. Then we are designing, putting initial design together. That level of requirement has to be tested somehow through some validation and verification to make sure that we captured the right user need, right problem, and defining it and transforming or articulating that in terms of a requirement. This has to be tested. Moving to the design, it has to be tested, verified, and so on, until we reach to the end, which is, I used to call it deployment and beyond. Student will ask me, what do you mean by beyond? I mean, even after we deploy our solution into the real environment, it still needs to be enhanced and still need to be improved. So all of this, it's a process. And by following that process, I can make sure or give the confidence to my students to ensure the successful completion of our project. If I answer it right, I'm not sure if this is your question. Sorry, what was the second one? It's about...
The second one was more specific to engineering. As human beings, we want to make the most impact we can with the life.
The most impact we can do.
So why engineering?
It's again, engineering is one of the fields that we can contribute, through which we can contribute to build and protect this earth. I'm not saying it is the only way. It is one of the possible ways. There are plenty. What we need to find out, where is our talent? Is it in the engineering? Is it in the medicine? Is it in some other field? But at the end, we need to find the right path for our personality, and this is not going to happen unless we have the right education, the right academic education. It just happened that this evening I was talking about engineering because I'm an engineer. I practiced engineer in many different fields. I gained plenty of experience in it. I teach it in the university. That's why I was promoting engineering. You talk about medicine, you talk about any other discipline, everybody can contribute into that purpose, into that overall goal or accomplishment. Engineering definitely is one of them. The most maybe obvious one of them, to build, to construct, to design, to make it tangible. Some of the other things it might not visible to you, but it contribute to our daily life. It can contribute to the way we think, the way we act, the way we practice, the way we deal with each other. It can come from many different disciplines. But something that you can see, you can touch, you can deal with it, it might come from engineering, correct? But it might happen through any other discipline, which is absolutely correct. المناطق يقولون إثبات الشيء لا ينفي ما عداه. So if you prove something, it doesn't deny the others. So if we prove that you can contribute to through engineering, it doesn't mean you cannot contribute to through any other discipline. Am I correct, Sayid? Okay. Thanks a lot.
And I have questions, so I'm waiting to see if, and we don't want to take too much time. It's starting to get late. We don't want to exhaust our guests. So
no, it's okay. I'm open to any question, so, and I am very, very happy to hear all these very interesting, very objective questions, and I'm so humble with that.
Okay, so two very quick questions, and we can finish with those. The first one is, so I think this one, from my personal experience, I think it will apply more to people who are especially going on graduate studies and higher level studies. Having gone through it, I can say that life is very different. But what I'm asking about is going to be applicable to everyone in any situation. The reality is usually when you get to the graduate studies, so master's, PhD, and beyond, you are in a different place in life. So you are no longer, a student living with your parents without any responsibilities. All you need to do really is go to school, pass your exams, get your grades. Oftentimes you may have a family, you may have social responsibilities. All sorts of other things are added to your plate. Sometimes you have to work while studying, which is exactly what you described. You're working and studying at the same time. And I'm sure it got a lot more messy and complicated than just what you described. Usually when you're doing masters and PhD, it's because you're in a different phase in life. You're no longer 17. What do you do to continue having a balanced life? How do you continue to be able to take care of your health, take care of your family, whether it's parents, spouse, children, while continuing to deal with the stress, with the ability to focus, to do your studies and your exams, to handle stress at work and deliver on projects. And so the question in general is simply, what would be tips and tricks either for you that have worked personally or in general that you have to manage a lot, to juggle a lot of things and continue to perform at a high level? So whether it's personal or in general, I will just leave it at that, and you can answer however you want. And in short, as short or long as you want.
You said you have two questions, but you ask only one. Say
I didn't. No, I'll let you ask, and then I'll finish with the last one.
Okay, then.
It will be a quick, short question at the end.
Okay. To answer this, it's simple. You have to believe in yourself and believe in what you are doing is the right things. Unless you can see the actual advantage out of what you are doing, you cannot dedicate yourself and your time to that. It is a challenge. It's not easy, as Dr. Sayid Jafar was saying, to have a family and at the same time to study and work together. So it's three main responsibilities. Studying as being a graduate student is not a simple thing, especially here in Canada. Work as well, it would require profound responsibility and dedication as well, and the family. So unless you believe in yourself and believe in what you are doing, it is going to have the right outcome for you, your family, your future, your vision. Where do you see yourself? For example, when you ask, where do I see myself 5 years from now, 10 years from now? What is that I really want to accomplish? What is that I feel or find myself, or I feel that I have the real talent through which I can make a real contribution? So if you have that feeling, definitely this will give you enough strength and enough energy. Now, that is from the motivation perspective, to have the right motivation. The second part, you need to be well organized as well. So you have the right motivation, you have the strength, you believe in yourself, you have the right vision, you can see where you are heading, where you are right now, what do you want to accomplish or to be 5 years from now. That would motivate you, to give you the strength to continue. But at the same time, now you need to manage. You need to manage all of these different activities. So you have to have some management skills when it comes to the time management, when it comes to the professional management. You have to be well organized at the same time. Otherwise, you cannot, there is a say here in Canada, you cannot hold 2 apples in one hand. But in here, we are talking about holding 3 apples. How you can do that? You have to have a big hands. Where you are going to bring, or you have to have very small, three very small apples. So it's a philosophy. You have to find a way to solve these puzzles. How you are going to solve it? It's an
engineering puzzle.
It's not engineering. It's a life philosophy puzzle. But again, it's at the end you will find a solution. We are human beings. We have very creative minded. God, Allah, give us a great deal of talents. All of us, everybody has a great deal of talents. That's what we need to discover. Each one has to be able to discover where is his talent resides, how much he can, and we have again to believe in ourselves, and we have to see that mission that is given from Allah to us. We need to make people around us happier.
أحسنتم.
Thank you.
One last quick, short question. If you had one piece of advice to give to your much younger self, if you could talk with everything you know and you have experienced in life today, if you could give one piece of advice to your much younger self, what would it be? What would you tell yourself?
I mean, do whatever makes you happy and make Allah accepting your work. That is.
أحسنتم.
Thanks.
أحسنتم. That's all the time. I think we'll stop here. I've exhausted everyone, especially our guest. I can't thank you enough for the precious time and advice and experience that you shared with us today. The emphasis on academic education and going far and accepting and understanding our responsibilities in this world and doing something that contributes positively to the world. I think to me were definitely running themes and highlights from everything we heard. I love the comments that we heard from the brothers, the pride that you feel, and inshallah this is inspiration and motivation that we can all go on this path and continue to work on ourselves in this direction as well. So without further ado, we can stop here. Thank you all so much. Inshallah, we see you all at the next professional networking session. Details will be announced for the next time. Once again, our utmost, warmest, sincere thanks to Dr. Sayid Abu Hassan al-Mousawi for having shared everything he shared with us, and for all of you to having participated. Inshallah, you can invite others who are not here today to attend so that we can all benefit from these. These are recorded sessions, so people can go back and see what we have discussed, and we have a good online audience. Inshallah, this continues, but we also want more in-person presence, inshallah. Thank you all so much. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين.
اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد. One final words, if Dr. Sayid Jafar would allow me. I really want to thank him for this initiative that he created this program through which he is bringing professionals from community to share their stories and to enable our young and our community for better performance and doing better for the future. Really thank you, Doctor. Thank you for all of your time, all the hard work that you are doing for this community, and I really cannot thank you enough on behalf of our community. Thank you again, and hopefully I was able to answer your question, my brothers, and hope we meet again in the future. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين.